Joe Biden has just announced a new deadline to pass the fourth stimulus check. So you should be expecting a fourth stimulus check, everybody, very, very soon, like as soon as this month. So a number of Democratic lawmakers are concerned about a potential holdback in the midterms. They have called for Congress to pass whatever pieces of proposal they can get, in both chambers at least, arguing that doing nothing is not an option. Progressive Democrats have already urged leaders to restart negotiations with the goal of wrapping up a final bill by the end of the month. President Biden also is scheduled to give the annual State of the Union speech. State of the Union speech on March 1st. Many experts say the accelerated timeline is achievable. According to advocacy groups, they said that we believe demonstrable progress towards enacting the best reconciliation bill possible can be made by the State of Union address. We're seeing people all across the country and many people in Congress push President Biden for more stimulus payments. And I agree, folks, it has to be done. Now, President Biden has just told reporters that it is possible that lawmakers will have to break up his spending bill. Nancy Pelosi also said, we will pass the bill when we have the votes to pass the bill, and we cannot stop pressing for that. Now, during a press conference, Joe Biden said, it's clear to me that we're going to have to break it up. We're going to have to negotiate and break the package up. So what do you think about Biden? Can he get this job done? Now, President Biden said so far that when referring to Manchin and Sinema, who had both publicly raised concerns about the price tag for the package, they said that, I know that the 2 years people have. I know that the two people who have opposed on the Democratic side at least support a member of things that are in there. Now, Biden also later acknowledged extending the child tax credit and funding for the cost of community college are going to be difficult to get it passed. The Build Back Better proposal, which is the cornerstone of Biden's domestic agenda, includes spending on programs like the child tax credit, investments in early education, and money for programs to combat climate change. So far, the House Representatives passed the bill late last year after months of haggling over how to prioritize it alongside a bipartisan infrastructure bill. And I know many of you are still wondering what the new timeline for the next round of stimulus will be. Well, many people are waiting for President Biden to announce a fourth check, following the past 3 rounds of stimulus payments that brought a great cash boost to medium income and low income families. So it should be kept in mind that the framework is already in place, and the first stimulus check was for around $1,200, so President Biden can definitely increase it to $2,000 this time. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments down below.
Now, on an entirely different matter, Washington Democrats' inflation is slamming consumers with the highest prices in 40 years. One of the toughest blows has been the soaring cost of a trip to the gas pump. A gallon of regular costs a full $1 more today than it did a year ago. So after triggering an historic run of inflation and hammering American producers with anti-energy policies designed to restrict supply, our Democratic colleagues are suddenly talking about gas prices. And there's a bold, creative plan, temporarily suspending the gas tax to the tune of 18 cents. Oh, and excluding diesel. A slap in the face to truckers and a further burden on the supply chain. Oh, and just to make the political games transparent, they want this to expire right after the midterms, as soon as the next Congress is sworn in. Democrats want to blow a $20 billion hole in highway funding so they can try to mask the effects of their own liberal policies on working Americans. They've spent the entire year waging a holy war on affordable American energy, and now they want to use a pile of taxpayers' money to literally hide the consequences. As the senior senator from West Virginia has pointed out, people want their bridges and their roads, and we have an infrastructure bill we passed this summer, and they want to take all that away? It just doesn't make sense. He added, this half-baked proposal doesn't make any more sense than the president's pointless decision to take oil out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve last year. President Clinton's Treasury Secretary Larry Summers called this stunt short-sighted, ineffective, goofy, and gimmicky. That's the Secretary of the Treasury in the Bill Clinton administration about this idea. Back in 2008, then candidate Obama himself said this, we're arguing over a gimmick that would save you half a tank of gas over the course of the entire summer so that everyone in Washington can pat themselves on the back and say they did something. Well, let me tell you, this isn't an idea designed to get you through the summer. It's designed to get them through an election. That's Barack Obama in 2008, and he was right. Look, if Democrats actually want to help the American people fill their tanks, they wouldn't have been attacking American energy every way possible for the entire year. President Biden made killing the Keystone XL pipeline his day one priority. Democrats voted in lockstep to endorse President Biden's ban on new energy exploration on federal lands. At every turn, in every way, Democrats have made it harder to produce affordable and reliable American energy. Take any form of energy, and if the people in San Francisco don't find it fashionable, the Biden administration has gone after it. 3 years ago, under Republican policies, the United States became a net exporter of oil for the first time in more than 70 years. From a sheer mathematical perspective, for the very first time since World War II, we were producing all that we needed and then some. Alas, a very different philosophy now controls Washington. In President Biden's first year, our own oil imports from Russia hit a new all-time high. But as we speak, events in Eastern Europe are reminding the entire world that energy abundance is not just about families' pocketbooks. There's a colossal strategic cost when our nation and our allies become economically dependent on countries who don't like us very much. Some of our European allies have spent many years voluntarily winding down reliable sources like nuclear and coal and refusing to tap into their own considerable natural gas reserves via fracking. Instead, they gambled on less reliable sources, outsourced their perceived dirty work to places like Russia. Western European elites decided they wanted their energy production out of sight and out of mind. And Putin was all too happy to oblige them. Even after Russia invaded Georgia in 2008 and Ukraine in 2014, Germany willingly signed up for Putin's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. It would negate Ukraine's own pipelines and deny the money and leverage that Ukraine needs to keep Russia at bay. But Germany backed it. Meanwhile, Berlin put off building liquid natural gas terminals. Instead,